Hello everyone, JavaMentor.net here. Welcome back. In this tutorial, there will be no code. We will explain a little bit about processes in one standard company, and it's very important for you to understand that because otherwise you won't know how to give your application to the real client. So, up until now, we learned some Java code, we learned a little bit about SQL, but basically whenever we wrote some Java code, we just started that code on our computer, right? Through the IntelliJ, and we were trying features of our application. But in the reality, when you are working in a real company, when you're a professional working for money, you're working in a team of developers, and there are few other roles in the team. There are not only developers, and you cannot ship your own computer to the customer, so you need to put your code on some server, right? So basically how it goes, you develop some code, you test that code on your computer, you see it works, and then you need to put that code on some server so customer can use it. But before customer can use it, it would be a good idea if tester from your team, which is called QA, quality assurance, if tester can try that code on some server, right? So he can maybe find some inconsistencies, he can find some bugs, he can find some performance issues, and so on and so on. So that's another role in your team. They are developers, they're usually writing code for backend, for frontend. Frontend guys are writing, I don't know, React, Angular, JavaScript, whatever framework they're using. Backend developers are doing Java, Python, C#, and so on. There are other kind of developers like mobile, they are creating mobile applications and so on. QAs are testing application, meaning that they are either manually clicking through our application to see if everything works correctly, or another thing is they are writing tests that will fail if something is not okay with our application. And every time we do some change in our application, developers will run those tests against our application to see if everything is fine. Other than developers and QAs, there are DevOps guys, and what they are doing basically, I mean, in very simple terms, I won't go into details. I will try to explain this to beginners. I hope DevOps won't offend. Because you need to put your code on some server, right? So they're making sure that everything with server is fine, that server has proper security, that roles at the server are assigned properly, that operating system on the server is updated, and so on and so on. Basically, you can see DevOps roles like that for now. So we create our program, we run that program on our computer. That is called starting a program in a local environment. It's local to us. We are starting on our machine. That's step number one. Then we need to put our code to some server so developers can try that code. Either our colleagues or we can try our code on some server, because it's not same if it works on our machine, because we might not have a database on our machine. I mean, we don't have a proper data on our machine. So it's a good idea to put code to some server and try your code there if it works properly there. And that environment is called dev environment. It's called dev environment because usually it's used by devs. Developers are trying changes here. If they see some problems, they can shut down application and then start a new one, and then fix the problem, mean writing some code, and then they can start a new version of the application on the server. And that process of starting a new version on a server is called a deployment. So you're deploying your application to server. You're starting your application to server. If someone tells you, hey, can you do a redeploy on dev environment? That means shut down the old application and deploy a new one. Either with fix, so maybe they can tell you, can you fix this small bug and do a redeploy? Or maybe sometimes only a restart will fix a thing. You know how it works with Windows, just turn off and turn on your computer. Okay, after you see that your changes are working properly on dev environment, the next thing is you need to put those changes on some server where your colleagues QAs can test that. And that environment is called QA environment, because QAs are the guys who are testing on that environment, and they're trying to find some inconsistencies, to try to find some bugs, and so on and so on. Of course, if change is yours, you are the first one who need to try your change on QA environment. And QAs, okay, they can run tests, they can do manual testing. When they're done with their work and they say, cool, this is working, go to the next step. So you now remember that QAs are in development team. So they are not managers. They are still in development team. The next step is some managers, they would like to check if everything is fine. At least to try some happy path. Of course, they will not try to find some edge cases to, I don't know, in a field where number needs to be inputted, they won't try to put some letters or something like that. They will just try features to see if everything is fine. Or they will try to present that to someone, to, let's say, higher management. So there must be some management environment, and that's usually called pre-production. So before we really give this code to the clients, and clients server where our clients, our customer will use the code, is called a production. So this is before production, so it's called pre-prod. On pre-prod, of course, managers can try features, and if everything is fine, the code is going to production, which is where real customers, real clients will use that code. So 4 environments usually: dev environment, developers working on that; QA environment, QAs, but QA environment is still for development team. Then it goes to managers on pre-production, and on real customers on production. In this video we talked about environments because in every company they're following similar process. I mean, in some company they're calling pre-prod staging, or maybe there are slightly different names, but the point is the same. The lower environments are usually unstable, I mean less stable than higher environments. Production is the most stable environment. Development, of course, is the most unstable. In the next video we will learn how to install Git, and why do we need Git at the first place, and what is Git. And yeah, I think this story with environments will be slightly connected to our next topic. See you in the next video, and let's learn about Git. Bye bye.